when my team wins a big game, it's good. But when my team doesn't win the big game, you better look out, Buster. I'm a loose cannon. This is not good at all.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Too Much Dip podcast. My name is Dave, known to many as Mr. Closest to the Pin. Joining me in studio today, none other than Dylan Shivery.
While I am happy to be here, I don't appreciate you playing that particular clip a couple days after my team does lose the big game. So... I see what you're doing. I don't necessarily appreciate it, but I do know why.
Because you're the only person who had a team that they like lose over the weekend?
Well, was it the big game?
It was the biggest game of the season, I think. Was it not? Cowboys, anyway, 49ers? That was the Cowboys' biggest game thus far.
It was.
Okay.
It was.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. We're okay, though. An otherwise fantastic weekend, I will have to say. But good to be here. Got a little Lucy in the upper lip that's helping me get through this episode. You know how I do it.
Whatever it takes to get through the episode, man.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who does it all natural. KJ.
Mr. 2-0 overseas. That's right. 2-0 in London town.
Ugh.
Jacksonville Jaguars fandom representative right here. Welcome. Thank you. Happy to be here with you folks.
We discussed this on Circling Back this morning because we had Brett fill in. The fairness of the Jags getting to just hang out in London for the week and the Bills having to fly over there. That is such an asterisk game.
Didn't want to. If they wanted to, then do it.
One team is jet lagged. The other's been eating, crumpets all week. Probably went to go see Big Ben, the whole shit,
Yeah, they probably went and swam in the
Ganges
sea.
River.
What is the sea over there?
I don't know.
The Thames?
The Thames. Yeah, the Thames.
I thought they went swimming in the Thames.
Whatever. It just is strange.
Is that not the one that's in Paris?
No.
Okay. Never mind. It doesn't matter.
I feel like I've walked
It's a river
over
in
it.
England.
Okay. You guys
There
got it
we go.
right.
That I knew off
That's
the top
good.
of my head. Didn't look it up.
Definitely didn't look that up.
In fact, the thing about it is at 215 miles, it's the longest river entirely in England and the second longest in the United Kingdom after the River Severn.
Yeah, but how many are? I feel like it's not a river-heavy area. I mean, it's like an island, right?
Take me to your river.
Anyway,
That's not the words.
we don't need to get into the
Take me to the
geographical,
river. Yeah, I know. We don't.
topographical
KJ wanted to make it about him.
course.
International. Mr. Not so worldwide. My passport really only has like 2 stamps, and one's kind of a gimme just because I drove up to Vancouver. In fact, I don't even think I got a passport stamp for that. Maybe I did. Who knows? I know that based on the headline for today's Circling Back that you fellas have talked ACL already. You don't have to answer if it's going to be covered there, in which people should listen to that too. But I am beyond curious in the logistics and experience of doing ACL with child. Did you go into depth on that?
No, didn't quite go in depth on it.
Because I believe it's my understanding Parks has been multiple times in the past.
He's a seasoned vet. I think he may have gone more than I have. I don't know. His mom takes him. He loves it.
Got it.
Yeah.
What, I guess, any basics there? Ages that you would start at? Because I know David's thrown out like the whole question of, when to consider bringing a child to professional sports. I think any big event is always kind of one of those things. Like, it's probably easier once you actually do it, but any quick feedback on how that goes for you?
I had the benefit of Parks having friends there. So his one of his good buddies was there. His mom brought him. A couple of other kids were there, so he played a lot with them, which made it easier. If it was me just dragging him around from stage to stage, I'm not sure how much he would enjoy that. Not nearly as much as he played the whole time, really. So that was good. But no, it was fine, man. He's 8, so he gets around very well now. But if a lot of walking involved, so that's that. Whether they're so small you got to carry them or have some kind of a stroller situation, I don't know. I did run into New York Times best-selling author W.R. Bolin, who was there with his young one. They had a stroller, and they were on the way out at like, this is probably 5:30 or 6. So they got out of there pretty early before the main acts were on. But yeah, it's very doable if you're prepared.
I've been told that with stroller, you get the VIP line access.
Yes.
Getting in.
Oh.
Not just stroller. I got to skip the main line.
Oh, that's sick.
Because there's a family entrance. It's where the platinum badge is the same entrance. If you have a child with you, you can skip. It'll probably save me 20 minutes getting in. It was really, really clutch. It's just like a private little entry right there. And then you can register the kid. He gets his own little wristband that has like, all my contact information in case he gets separated from me. So that there's that whole situation. They do it right. It's cool.
Is it is he too old for Austin kitty limits?
That's the first place we went, and that was because his buddies were in there. That's where we met up with them, and he was in there for half an hour, and it's fine. He's probably a little old for it. They have like little fake tattoos, and they do your hair all crazy, and there's like little acts that go on in there and shit. But it's fine.
Lisa Loeb played it a few years back, randomly.
Did she?
Big time.
Stay.
Zone.
Yeah, I don't know if she did like exclusively.
You say.
Yeah, that's the one. Did the kids know that one?
I know every word of that song.
Good pull.
I used to go real hard.
Well, yeah, I think she might do kid stuff now. Kid music. Not kid stuff. She's not like wearing Oshkosh Bagosh or anything, but yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
She just builds Lincoln logs.
Maybe I'm the only person that cares, but it is truly one of those weird things like traveling with a toddler, whatever. It seems natural, like once you've done it and once you're in it, but very intimidating for those who have not. So thank you for that aside.
Yeah.
That's a good question, KJ.
Lots of marijuana in the area, just wafting nonstop, which I had to explain to him. Like, there's not a skunk in the park here that's actually marijuana. And he got in his head about it. Because to him, all he hears is like, "Oh my gosh, people are doing drugs around me," because he's 8.
Right.
So he smelled it. And he was like, "I feel like I'm inhaling so much smoke." I'm like, "You're okay. I think you're just chill, buddy. We're gonna get through this just fine." He's like, "I keep coughing. Like there's so much smoke." Like, you're fine. It's just high.
It's just that mota.
Yeah, it's just that sticky.
Yeah, man. Hey, no live stream this week. Thank you to our special guest from last week, Eddie Radosevich from Sooner Scoop. But we will be back next week. And next week's guest, pencil him in, but I do have confirmation, and I need to send him an email, that we will have an American League All-Star next Thursday. Next Thursday, 6:30 Central. You can watch those at youtube.com/toomuchdip. Go subscribe to our YouTube page if you have not already.
Is it Shohei?
It's not Shohei. We've got 4 boxes. We've got one for Shohei, one for his translator. It's a 2-hour show.
Oh, yeah. It's going to take us a while to get through that one, but we're happy he's going to join us.
Yeah, otherwise, enjoy this week. It's going to be a good week. Dylan told us earlier it's content week, so we're going to try to provide more content.
Yeah.
Where do you want to begin?
They just do Texas OU off the top, get out of the way.
This here is the Red River rivalry, the Red River Shootout, the Red River
Showdown. It's been called also.
It's a game of many names.
They went to the one that's the most difficult to say. Red River
Showdown
rivalry. What's up?
Is Showdown the current one, or what's
rivalry
right now?
Is the current one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
It's hard to say, truly.
Anyway. Yeah, let's just get into it. As I said last week, my son had a soccer game that started at 11:45. We had to be there 11:15, so I had to miss the entire, first half plus of the game. Luckily, I was able to avoid all spoilers, so I started the game not knowing anything. Although the text group's going quiet, like we talked about this on Circling Back, it kind of gave me a little indication of how the game might be going. But
I think it was out of respect for you.
Yeah.
I think that was, at least I know it wasn't too much dip one. Like,
I think I tried to convince myself that if Texas was winning, that they would like at least respect, the spoiler aspect and not to just blow me up about it. So I was like, okay, maybe that's why they're being quiet. But then as the game progressed, I was like, nah, this is a back and forth, really close game. Probably didn't end well for me. So it was all a surprise the way it went. Pretty crushing loss, I won't lie. I got a lot to say about it. I don't know.
Yeah, go off.
First thing I'll say is that OU is better than I expected them to be. The defense is a pretty tough defense. I think we kind of knew that coming into the game, but like I said, because the competition they had faced up until that point, I wasn't quite sure how legit that defense was. It's a pretty good defense. Game started off pretty terribly for Texas. What surprised me the most, I think, is the game felt bigger for Texas than it did for OU. OU just came in just, on fire. They were just amped up for the game. Texas was kind of flat. That interception, the second play of the game for Texas, the interception was a really, really bad play. He had another interception in the first quarter. The first 5 minutes, just really bad for Texas. The second interception probably wasn't a wise decision to throw it into traffic like that, but he did hit his tight end in the hands and he did drop the ball. He got hit pretty good. Probably shouldn't have thrown that ball, but that's not all on Quinn. After that, he played a very clean, very strong game. If you take those first 5 minutes away, he actually was very, very sharp. The first 7 minutes of the game was just very chaotic. A lot happened, fake punts and turnovers and all kinds of wild shit was going on. Texas finally settled down a little bit, made a game of it. Gabriel, good quarterback. He, until that last drive, which was an incredible drive by him, credit to that dude. Until then, he was pretty average, I think. He was, completing 55, 57% of his passes, didn't have any touchdowns yet. What really shocked the hell out of me, and apparently the Texas defense as well, was that dude can run. He had over 100 yards rushing, which I think was the difference in the game. I don't think Texas D was prepared for that at all, like they were for Jalen Milroe for Alabama.
What was his injury at UCF? Or what did he have one? I remember because
UCF
he ran the ball a lot more. I
feel
feel like, although I have to admit, I have not watched a ton of OU outside of this week. But
they had Mac Milton, who had his traumatic injury.
Right.
Come back. Wasn't fully ready because obviously he ended up going to Florida State by the time Dylan Gabriel had fully taken over. But I think Gabriel had a knee injury, and I could be wrong. I know it was a leg injury of some sort. But I believe it wasn't, if anything, it was a torn ligament. You can confirm.
And of course, last season, the game before Texas OU, he was concussed, which is why he had to miss Texas OU. And we know how that one went. That was a much different story. Yeah, it's a much improved team. It really is. They had a lot of help in the transfer portal. They got some dudes on defense. The D-line played their asses off. There was a what?
Sark.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't his best game, obviously.
That seems to be where my other UT friends were pointing their
was it clock management?
Game management, and that last drive.
Yeah, the last drive, I believe OU had 2 timeouts that last long Texas drive, and then there was 4+ minutes to go. So that's a lot of time to kill against a team that has 2 timeouts. But even so, they were running the hurry up. They weren't letting any clock run off at all, which I don't know.
That's always a weird debate because it's like if you're an offense and you think your best way of getting those yards is doing the hurry up, like you're saying that we have to kind of catch them off guard and not let them get set to have our best chance at moving the football, then you don't stop doing that.
Yeah, so the drive stalls out, so Texas has to kick a field goal to go up by 3. And they do so. OU had to burn their last 2 timeouts. So they left 1:15, which is a lot of time. This isn't on Sark necessarily, but I hate how Texas goes to the prevent right there. With 1:15, they go to the prevent, and then OU just starts ripping off these chunk plays. They have a couple of them, and then there's a pass interference down the sideline there, and it puts them, within inside the 5, and then we know how the game ends. Yeah, I didn't love the defense in this game.
Yeah.
I point to that more than I point to Sark's overall just game management, is the defense just was not prepared for that offense.
Yeah, and to confirm, Dylan Gabriel actually broken left clavicle. So it was a collarbone at UFC.
Okay.
UCF.
Definitely not
excuse me.
his leg.
Yeah, not his
Yeah.
leg. But anyway, not a major point. He's definitely better. I've been down on him all year. Definitely better than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah,
Especially on that last drive, he was really good.
He was nails on the last drive. So credit to him. There was that goal line stand that I think is like probably the series that stands out the most. This was I don't remember, it's late third or early fourth, but there was a Texas gets the ball down to the 1, first down, first and goal from the 1, and OU stuffs to run 3 times in a row, and then there's a quick pass to Worthy, who if you look at the replay, there was a pretty bad face mask that was missed, but it is what it is. That was an impressive goal line stand, and that was like the turning point. That was like, okay, they have just stolen all momentum from Texas.
So they threw it on 4th and 1.
They threw it on 4th and 1. They do it, the quick pass to Worthy, little screen pass, and he got down like he was like 2 inches from the goal line, and
Okay.
the safety for OU just like yanks him back by his face mask. It was pretty bad, but it was also a pretty congested play, so I can understand how that was missed.
Shout out to Sark for avoiding hopping on the bandwagon and doing the tush push, which is my most overplayed thing of football season in general this year. I would be very happy if we didn't have to hear about it again.
They have a backup running back who runs a Wildcat. He's the one who threw a pass early in the game from the Wildcat, and he's a stout dude, and he's pretty nails. I don't know why they didn't go to that. It's been working so far. Didn't do it. Good news for Texas. I mean, this is a crushing loss. It really was. It's as good as Texas has looked. This is like, okay, this is the year they can put a run together. Good news is Texas is through the difficult part of their schedule by far. They're 5-1. The goals are still ahead of them. So if they win out, and it's definitely not a given, but all the games left are very winnable for Texas. And if they take care of business, if they play like they are capable of, they're going to meet OU again in the Big 12 championship.
Who do you guys got? You got Tech at home, Kansas State,
Iowa State, Kansas State,
Houston versus BYU versus K-State, at TCU, at Iowa State. Finish at home versus Tech.
So these are all winnable games, and that, again, it doesn't mean they're going to win them all, but they're going to be favored in every game from here on out.
Okay.
So yeah, they could still win the Big 12, and if they do, I think there's still a spot for them in the playoff. So that's the good news here. And this is going to sound like sour grapes and whatever. You can blast me for it if you want. I think Texas is better than OU. I still believe that OU played much better. They were ready for the moment, much more so than Texas was. And so it's disappointing. But the season is not a loss yet. There's still goals are ahead of them. And we'll see. We'll see what happens.
KJ.
Not much more to say on that game. I thought it was entertaining. I don't know if I felt this way in past years, that maybe it's the neutral site, maybe it's the pageantry of like the state fair and everything else going on around it. It almost feels like you're watching a Super Bowl, and I don't mean the value of the game, like the stakes online, but kind of like the fighters feeling each other out sense that you get with these games. Like every single year seems to be a different experience. You get kind of some sloppy play, some mistakes that these teams don't make in other situations, but it doesn't feel like this year, this coach outcoached that coach, or, it always seems like there's just unique twists, much like when you're watching a Super Bowl between two teams that have a ton of time to prepare, et cetera, et cetera. So that was just my only walking away sentiment. It's great game. As a neutral fan, it's enjoyable. I don't know that I subscribe or agree with the online, oh my gosh, this has given us everything. This is such an entertainment game. It's wild ass. There's all these things happening. I enjoy seeing block punts and fumbles and random interceptions and penalties cause games to turn, but I also don't feel like you're getting a clear view of what exactly these teams have to offer. So
it is. You're right. It's such a chaotic environment. It's so unlike any other game. It just feels like one of those games where you just never know what the hell's going to happen. and which is it. And as a fan, it makes me extremely nervous. Even if I think Texas is much better than OU in that particular game, you really just don't know what the hell is going to happen because that's just a wild environment. Teams can really get up for the game, or they can just fall flat, and the moment could be too big for them. Like last year, OU was just not prepared for that game. Yeah. This year, it was a completely different team. So
I don't even get that feeling like when watching some of the SEC games that are played in the Falcon Stadium, like when you see those early season big name teams, whatever, Bama's playing Clemson or something, start the year, whatever, Florida State or something like that. I don't even get that in those sentiments, and maybe it's the lack of a rivalry game angle. It feels different than even the SEC rivalry games. Like when you're watching the Iron Bowl, the home situation has so much to do with how those games play out. Like this is unique for that sense. So
yeah.
Anyways, great game.
Yeah.
Dude, look at
maybe if I paid more attention to the world largest cocktail party, isn't that the one? It's like Florida, Georgia, and it's usually at the Jag Stadium or somewhere else. Like maybe that feels similar, but
yeah, and the way they have the stadium or the stands where it's like it's split right down the middle. I mean, one half of the stadium, if you're on that side of the field, like the crowd is great for you, and then as soon as you cross the 50, it's just all booze. It's really crazy. Highly recommend going to the game if you've never been. It's a lot of fun.
Looking at OU's remaining schedule, like I knew they had an easy schedule this year. UCF at home, okay. Kansas in Lawrence. Then you got Bedlam, the last Bedlam, which okay
shouldn't be mid-season like that.
Yeah, November 4th. Then you got West Virginia at home. Then you got at BYU, and then TCU at home. So Bedlam is a similar game to where, I mean, on the road in Stillwater, the final Bedlam, that's going to be Gundy's Super Bowl. So that might actually...
That is true. That will be his job-saving game. Great point. They're going to beat the shit out of West Virginia probably. Asterisk. But currently West Virginia only has one loss in their record, and like
better than people thought.
If they were to beat Oklahoma, like they've got a path. To doing some weirdly good things. Again, it won't happen, but they very well easily could show up to that game undefeated, make it a little bit more interesting than it needs to be. Granted, it's in Norman, but still, that's like the only who knows what could happen game. Because pivot to Kansas real quick, the other like ranked team left on Oklahoma's schedule. I was surprised that their quarterback Daniels was out last week. Apparently, whatever's going on with his back, like, might potentially be a significant, like, long-term thing. He was out again this week with back tightness. They got the dub over UCF, like, in pretty well managed fashion. But, like, if he's not there to play Oklahoma, like, that game is irrelevant. So,
can we talk? So Sark obviously got some criticism.
Yeah,
Jimbo. We could talk Jimbo real quick.
I forgot about that game. Yeah, let's do it.
A winnable game, a game that when you have, if you're A&M and you're at home, they're at home, have the ball in Alabama territory, 4th and 1, full yard. That's key here for context. Punted it away against Alabama. And then afterward, Jimbo says they obviously end up losing that game. Says if it wouldn't have been the full yard, we would have gone for it, I think. Which... that is such an old school way of thinking that I almost respect being that stuck in your ways that you would punt that on Bama's 38.
Well, think about a full yard's notably 3 feet, right?
At what point in the game was this?
This is third quarter, I think.
Okay.
Third quarter, I want to say it was tied. I could be wrong about that. It was pivotal.
No one does that anymore. In modern football, like it's just a much more aggressive type of football. Like no one's punting there. That's almost unheard of these days.
Yeah, and I don't know what to make of Alabama. I know Milroe looked better, but it's still a big dub because they've tripped up there and they've looked up and down this year. But that was tough. And then the other coaching, the one that I could not believe was real, and I kept watching videos of it like on Twitter as I was lying in bed in my golf trip, was fucking Miami.
Unbelievable.
Oh man,
it's one of the worst coaching miscues that I can remember.
What
in like recent memory?
Yeah, what are you doing?
since the last time that he did this at Oregon, because he did this very same thing happened to him at Oregon.
Is it just a philosophical thing where he's just like, he
Go
just
in
doesn't,
the game, go take it from him type mentality?
he's such an alpha that he does not believe in just taking a knee and running out the clock.
Okay.
He's like, got to really stick it to him.
I'm sure he was asked this post game, and I haven't seen his press conference. Was he aware of the situation? Did he know that a knee ends it right there, or was he just? I don't know.
They had 2 timeouts, minute 10 seconds, and you very easily, with basically kneel on first down, kneel on second down, timeout, kneel on third down, clock is running. The clock is ticking into your 4th down play. You're snapping it with seconds left on the clock, if anything. You have the end of the game that Alabama and A&M had, where you're throwing the ball as far as you can or running around, taking a sack, whatever. You can even take a safety at that point, and you're not losing. I don't know. It reminds me, I guess this goes right next to the Marcus Freeman 10-minute on the field game earlier this season. Like, he had to eat that and, said he realized in the moment didn't want to get the penalty and just poor, inexperienced coaching decision. With Mario Cristobal, like,
that was so bad.
Once it happens, somebody else has to be there to say, hey, what the hell are we doing? No, kill, take a knee.
Yeah,
Like,
he essentially said, like, it was the wrong. He owned up to it. On another note, it's extremely hard to access information without having a subscription to every major newspaper across the country. As I frantically search for the quote, but everything's behind a damn paywall. God, dude, what a beating! Thank God for Bro Bible. Jesus.
I will say this: I don't mind subscribing to several things, especially newspapers. Catch me in hell trying to unsubscribe from one in an efficient manner, which is just the thing that always gets me.
KJ, that's great you brought that up. You should check out our friends at Rocket Money. I'm just kidding. No read today.
But yeah, he's rightfully getting crucified for this. It's hard to say what happens to their season from here. But when you have players like literally caught on camera saying, what the F are we doing? Like in tears, feeling like they just lost their season. It's hard to keep that thing on track. So if they do win out and, beat Florida State and are making noise towards the end of the season, and this is the loss that keeps them out of the college football playoff, that hurts. But I almost would then credit him with keeping the locker room together, getting things back on track, and getting past this kind of embarrassment, because this is millions and millions of dollars on the line. They'd beaten A&M earlier in the year. That's, whatever, a reputable win. They're going to go to North Carolina next week, right? North Carolina being ranked 12th. You've got top 15 teams left in Louisville and Florida State left. That's a ranked number 1, nobody's gonna move Georgia out of the way, but that's a top 2 ranking schedule left to play if they were to win this game. So
sure,
that's bad.
He said there's no way to rationalize it. It's the wrong decision. Should have kneeled it. He did kind of mention some stuff about ball security, and that kind of feels like you're throwing out a little distraction there. Yeah, maybe. I mean, yes, he should
why
not
not
have
torture defense for, I don't know, if Dez caught it, finish out the game. Georgia Tech didn't win because of the fumble. They won because they scored on a 40-yard touchdown pass after the fumble. It still wasn't over.
Yeah, that's a mega tough scene. Anything else from the world of college football? We don't even need to talk about. Nobody cares about Tech, Baylor. Just nobody cares that Dave Aranda's on the extreme hot seat going into a bye week. Nobody cares. Shout out to Tech.
Georgia looks really good again.
They do look
finally.
What's their quarterback's name? He's looking much better.
Carson Beck. Yeah, they are to be dealt with.
A lot of people thought he was a loser, baby, but this Beck ain't no loser.
Okay.
All right. It's better than the Carson Daly route I was trying to figure out in my head.
I forced it. I was trying to think of anything.
We all got that game wrong, but I think we were all skeptical And I don't know that this like proves that every other win they had was deserving. Maybe it questions like what Kentucky's worth. I don't know. They controlled the game top to bottom, but they're now deserving of like whatever first ranked spot they've been in all season.
Yeah. I think the only thing I've said, the only take I've had correct on any live stream and maybe this show ever was when I took my big boy stacked LSU Missouri, because I was like, well, LSU's defense is very bad, which is a real hot take. No one else is saying that. And it turns out I was right. So shout out to me.
Yeah, same with me and Iowa's offense. I got that one too. Biggest games this week, since we don't have a live stream, really quick, I'm going to glance ahead. Anything done for you by 18 UCLA at 15 Oregon State? I'm seeing A&M at Tennessee. Oh, Oregon at Washington. That will be worth my time. 2:30 on Saturday. So yeah, that's really all that's worth saying that you'll figure out something about the rest of the year. Then you get Miami, North Carolina that I already mentioned. So yeah, check me looking at Bo Nix and Penix.
That's the game, right?
That is the game of the weekend.
Penix is the odds-on favorite for the Heisman Trophy at this moment, I do believe. I think I saw that earlier.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's shifted week to week. USC going to triple overtime with Arizona. We don't have time to go through all the shit that happened there, but USC's dropped in the rankings 3 straight weeks and won every single week.
While remaining undefeated. Yeah, they
it's
were
like the opposite of like Georgia. Georgia looked ugly every single week, and like they just kind of stayed at 1 and lost some of the first place rankings. USC, they're like, no, fuck that, they're trash.
They're just begging to get upset by someone at this point. Their defense just gives up so much, but they have Caleb Williams on their side, so that they're pulling these games out. But that's a team that's just ready to get beaten.
We're going to get an LSU USC bowl at the end of the season.
Yeah,
half the players won't play, including Caleb, but old school bowl ways like that would be a 61-58 game, and I'd love every bit of it.
Guys, before we get into the NFL, can we talk about our good friends at Prize Picks?
Yes, please.
Prize Picks, the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. The easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on a 2 to 6 player stat projection and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks is the most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times my money this football season. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. Testing my skills on Prize Picks this football season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you've got the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. David Montgomery. I just got to give a sneaky shouts to David Montgomery of the Detroit Lions. What? You don't believe me?
No, I do. I respect it.
You got to respect it, dude. It's been a great pickup for me, okay? We're big fans of Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/bang and use code BANG for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, I need you to go to prizepicks.com/bang and use code BANG for a first deposit match up to $100. Check it out. Daily fantasy sports made easy with Prize Picks. You don't trust my David Montgomery takes, do you?
No, I respect it. As somebody who narrowly dodged drafting Jahmyr Gibbs, like I've had an outsized attention paid to his lack of use in Detroit. So for some reason, all of the articles and discussion about how little he's getting the rock, like I don't even have him on my roster, but I still feel the pain. Okay. Do we want to start with where we definitely need to focus, or do anything else and leave some time for it?
You want to talk Jags? Jags in London? Is that what you want to do? Are they moving there? What's happening? When's that happening?
We're rebuilding. Emphasis on we. They're reinvesting, rebuilding the bank in Jacksonville. But they will. I think they've committed to playing 2 home games in London for the foreseeable future. I think there was talk of that bumping up to 3 or 4, but then they drafted Trevor Lawrence and realized they're going to get good again. So they'll just be over there as the staple team for some time.
A pretty ordinary game to beat Buffalo, by the way. But Trevor Lawrence, speaking of fantasy, keep waiting for him to break out. He doesn't, but they are getting better, I will say. So good for him.
Again, nobody cares about my fantasy team,
Mm-hmm.
but David and I's conversation about Trevor Lawrence last week affected my decision to start Anthony Richardson
Oh, no.
over Trevor Lawrence this week. And I publicly complained about Pollard and Lamb letting me down. But had I just started Trevor Lawrence, your boy would have stayed undefeated. Anyways, fast forward. Yeah, Jags got the win. Bills dropping this one. I don't think it has anything to do with going over and playing in London. Enough teams have gone over and played in London and played productive games that get over it. I didn't hear the Falcons complaining about anything when they were, their week one, as were the Jags. Like, this whole unfair advantage, I don't want to hear it. I know it only applies in this circumstance because Jags stay there for 2 weeks, but I don't want to hear it.
Okay.
Do you want to go back to Jacksonville? No.
No, I get it. That would be a waste and also not carbon friendly. So shout out to the Jags.
Are the Cowboys coming back to Dallas, by the way? Between Santa Clara and Los Angeles?
100%. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Oh, yeah.
absolutely, dude. They're not staying out there. You got to go to the Star, man. You got to go look at the tape. You got to see, hey, why do we get our doors blown off by the best team in football? It's pretty simple.
Anything on the Dolphins or the Eagles before we jump into it? Because Dolphins are incredible to watch. Like, it's made having Sunday Ticket worth every single penny. I don't even know if it would have been a national game, but it's fun to see.
They're great. As far as the Eagles, I still think the Rams are good. Like the
Cup
Rams
being back helps.
They've got a lot of weapons. So yeah, I'm really like in an existential crisis with my current fandom because I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that the Rams are going to get better. I already know what the Eagles are. 49ers are just in another class. And Dak is never going to beat that team. So if there is a road to the Super Bowl, there is going to have to be a monumental upset. Someone's going to have to, it's going to have to shake out weird, and someone's going to have to take out San Francisco because Dak cannot beat them. It's the worst game I've ever seen.
It was very, very ugly. It was demoralizing. It was a loss that was so bad. It's like, all right, what's next year looking like for me? Like, I'm fucking over it. I don't think Dak has it, and not just because they played San Francisco. I just don't think Dak has it anymore. I'm losing faith in him.
I need a smart guy to like look at the. I won't say all 22 because I've been informed that that's not what football people say. In fact, only boners say all 22. But I need somebody to tell me, is Dak just holding on to the ball because there's actually nobody down the field open? Because he sure holds on to the ball quite a bit.
The way he gets flushed out of a pocket and will evade, defensive end or linebacker like barreling down on him. And he keeps like scooting to the sideline and looking downfield. No one's there. Throw the ball away. Throw the ball away. Don't take a 7-yard sack when you don't have to. Like, it's not there. The guy's going to be on you in 1 second. Get rid of the ball. There's no one open. I don't understand why he always takes a sack in that situation. It happens so often.
He's slow, man. He does not move.
It's not just about being immobile. It's about being like,
I know.
All right, let's not lose 7 yards here.
I think he
handicap the rest of this. I mean,
I think he has an issue. I think he's scared of throwing it away and throwing a pick. Like, honestly, like I think he doesn't know what to do. I think he's very when you got
20 yards out of bounds.
When you got Fred Warner running at you, like
that dude had
their linebacking core sick.
That dude had a game.
He's a monster.
Yeah.
I think you just panic, and like you shouldn't panic if you're a $40 million
not at this point
quarterback
in
in your 7th year or whatever.
Throw it 20 yards out of bounds.
But dude, that's just testament to San Francisco, dude. They're nasty.
No, but it's not. I mean, yes, they are obviously nasty. It's just really poor and really slow decision making by Dak.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't help that you were unable to establish any kind of a run game.
I didn't realize he was. I mean, is it the ankle? Like, why is he so immobile now? Not that he was ever Lamar Jackson, but he could move around. Not anymore.
No, I think it's just a accumulation of you had the dislocated foot or ankle, whatever. You had the calf injury the next year, and just age.
Yeah.
And he used to be a dude who would, tuck it and run, and he would like seek out contact, which you don't love.
It looked like he was paid to throw that game. That's how bad his performance was.
It was bad. It was like, I'm not even looking at Twitter bad.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. And we even talked about the defense. Like for a while, it didn't look great, but they were still kind of holding up there into the bargain a little bit. Like, 3 and outs. You keep running your defense out there, but Michael Parsons, absolute non-factor. He's got bad body language at times. Can we talk about Michael Parsons' bad body language when things aren't going great?
Sure.
Because he's the guy you look to. You're like, oh, this is the best player in the NFL. I think many people have said that. And there's times where he looks absolutely defeated, and you just you want a little bit more. But they were never going to win that game. After it was 21-7, I was like, okay, not good. And we came out in the third. We got the ball, kicked a field goal, which I didn't have the biggest problem with, but a lot of people did. But it didn't matter.
No,
it was not good.
It didn't matter. Not good at all.
Any thoughts on how much you learned about Brock Purdy on and off the field? I don't know how much of the broadcast you were listening to.
Mm-hmm.
I have said many times I typically will mute it, listen to other things. I'll read closed captioning, but last night I had Collinsworth and Tirico full blast.
Yeah, how could you not? How could you not? Is this maybe what his parents do for a living?
I don't need Tirico hyper explaining that he's trying to help a hot tub business do well in Mesa, Arizona. I don't need weeks ago we got shots of Brock Purdy's head high school coach in the crowd, 10 shots of his family. There are so many other storylines on that team. Give it a rest.
Brock
I
Purdy's
would
parents.
venture to say we got more. We got the same number of shots of Brock Purdy's family or mentions of something non-football related to Brock Purdy as you got Taylor Swift shots last week or whatever in prior weeks. They were so focused.
There was a lot.
It was bizarre.
It was bizarre. I don't know if you watched it with sound, but so I guess Brock Purdy's parents have a hot tub store. They sell hot tubs.
That's sick.
Which I know it's a thing that exists, but it's just kind of it's weird to imagine. Hey, I'm gonna go down to the hot tub store.
But wait, what was the storyline about it though?
Nothing.
That his dad closes the shop to go watch the game.
They put up when they can't get somebody to work that day, they'll just put up a sign that says "Going to watch football." I'm just like, you couldn't find anybody you couldn't hire another employee maybe to watch the store. It's very cute, I guess. If you're a 49er fan, you probably love it. But
be open on Sundays.
Someone's got to sell hot tubs, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Tirico seemed astonished that people would want a hot tub in Arizona.
It's probably all just packaged
Collinsworth.
into the Purdy story. He was just, a late round draft pick, and he's turned into the quarterback. And he's still, making under $1 million, right? It's
800,
it's the whole package, right?
I think he is good. I mean, I think he is very good.
He is good. He's going to have to get paid soon, and it's going to affect the dynamic of the rest of that roster. But for now,
I think that he's good. I think that he's executing well within the system he's in. I think back to the Jalen Ramsey quote, I don't know, probably 5-6 years ago, where he went quarterback by quarterback when he was calling different quarterbacks trash and one or two of them good. And I think about Garoppolo, he said that's all scheme. And the Niners had beat the brakes off the Jags prior to that. But he was yeah, that's all scheme. That kind of stuck with me because we've also seen multiple quarterbacks succeed. Jimmy Garoppolo to a certain extent succeed with the Niners. Brock Purdy's better than what Garoppolo was in the system, but none of that to say, system quarterback. We'll just see. Time will tell. Him being 12-1 to begin his career is unfathomably great, and it's not just his defense doing it.
Yeah,
he's done it without a notable running back besides CMC in the last section of it.
Their scheme is really sick. It's really fun, and if there is one scheme that, like, if you are a quarterback who is a late round pick, the latest pick, that would be the scheme you'd want to be dropped into, I think. Uh, but there was no pass rush. I'm interested if to see what like a team like the
Well
Eagles.
done.
What?
Are you mimicking Collinsworth's pass rush?
No, I was
Or was
just
that,
no. My
accidental?
lips are really chapped from
Oh, okay.
morning golf yesterday. No,
Yes. Chris Collinsworth will hit you with a pass rush.
no, that
every
was
time
just
you
that was
mentioned
just
it.
user error.
Um,
No, but I'm interested, like when Philly ends up inevitably in the NFC Championship against San Francisco. Like, what does an actual disruptive pass rush look like? Well, I'm gonna be thinking about that one. Anyway, if someone wants to take over while I just stutter my way through the fucking show.
Last thing on the Cowboys game, like there's no need for me to like high step in here, and I told you so. I told you so. But I ran out of like excuses to think that the Cowboys were going to come back with, and of course, it's all going to go back to Dak because of the number of interceptions. Like there was, hey, we got to wait till this line gets back. Like if you're going to say this is all on Trayvon Diggs or Deron Bland getting hurt, okay, but you had no reason not to show up offensively. Maybe we're going into a week where the Cowboys are about to play their former offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore.
Revenge game.
And they just finished a game where they ran the ball 7 times in the first half. And that's something that Kellen Moore would have gotten, spit roasted for in the media the days following.
Yes.
And for them to come right out and run the ball, I think 2 out of 3 downs or whatever it was. It was like 60% of the plays, a little bit more than that. In that first drive that they end up with a field goal. Not 2 out of 3, but you know what I mean? They clearly like tried to make an effort right at that point, and then the game was just gone. So I don't know. I just think that it does go back to the Cowboys were not 40 points. They were not a 40-0 team or whatever against the Giants. I don't think that they were, whatever it was, 30 points better than the Jets were that day. I'm not saying the Cowboys are bad, but as bad as my picks have been, they are 2 losses away in the next 6 games of me being like, oh, shit, when I said they'd have 4 losses, I was kind of joking, and here we are. So we'll see.
Yeah, I noticed you didn't include the Patriots in there because I do think they are
That's
that much
the game
better. Because
the
they
Patriots
they're in a bad way, dude. That's a
how
tough
do you think
scene.
it ends for Bill Belichick? Like, do you think he makes it through this season? And not that I don't think he'll get fired, but do you think he finishes the season? Do you think he tries to fix this? Do you think this matters when people think of Bill Belichick?
It should not. I don't know what he said, like if he's alluded to his future plans, how long he wants to do this, but I feel like wouldn't be shocked if he stepped down after the season because, I wouldn't want to fucking deal with this.
That offense just feels so depleted, like talent-wise right now.
Yeah.
Who's at receiver?
Juju? I think.
He had one decent year 6 years ago.
I'm not saying he's good. I don't even know the roster.
Yeah.
But they don't even have like a Puka Nacua like the Rams or whatever. Like they don't even have a guy that they're making great.
Like a guy that
they're doing with them.
Pluck out of the late rounds.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like a 5'7" white guy, specifically. Many of them actually. No, and like when you don't have a young quarterback where it's like, we just got to give him time. We believe in this guy. It's not even one of those. It's just like start over. No, I would not be shocked if he stepped away, but they're not going to fire him or anything. But I don't know. He's a weird fucking guy. I don't know what his deal is.
Keyshawn Boudia, is he even on the depth chart with it? Yeah, he's still there and he's getting some play. Devontae Parker's there. They've got a ton of injuries, man. Not saying it's the whole reason, but sheesh, just glancing at their depth chart real quick, like I'm counting 15, 16 players with questionable out or IR next to their name. So yeah, it's not looking good.
Okay.
Him and Saban are both old, like in general for this earth. Pops up there too, like in terms of great coaches, like the end has to be close for all 3 of these like phenomenal coaches. And I don't think that anything happening in the last couple of years is going to change anything of what anybody should think of Bill Belichick.
Agree. Okay, who's more likely to be coaching next year? Sean Payton, Bill Belichick, or Mike McCarthy?
McCarthy.
You think McCarthy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is he going to make it through the bye week?
Dude, it feels like Jerry has just unwarranted belief in him.
Yeah. But if he doesn't win a playoff game, if they don't make it, the talk before the season was like, if they don't make that NFC championship game, like he's gone, which might be a little extreme.
That was the bar originally.
That was the bar, and I don't know. I have not heard people they're not, moving this hypothetical bar back, but I don't know, man. If they don't, if they don't win a wild card game, I think he's gone, man. Jerry's too old for this shit. He can't put up with it.
I'll quickly read you the teams not ranked, but better records than them in the NFC. You tell me like where their wins come in the playoffs, and I can see a couple. Niners.
Yeah.
Okay. Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Would you bet heavily on the Cowboys to win against the Lions in the playoffs? Or the Bucks?
Not heavily.
Bucks, yes.
Yeah, Bucks, yeah. Lions,
Seahawks,
probably.
And then Seahawks, Falcons, and Saints are all tied by record. And I guess the Packers could be after tonight. So, like, again, you see them getting that first one. I think the Lions is a toss-up. I don't think anybody's betting on them to beat the Niners or the Eagles. So we'll see.
We will see. God, dude, that Kellen Moore game does look pretty juicy now. Coming this weekend. Huh. Can we talk about something more fun?
Please.
Can we talk about Major League Baseball?
Ooh.
Because I don't know if you guys have looked, and I hate that this is a thing, but the updated World Series odds,
gosh,
the Texas Baseball Rangers are now your odds-on favorite to win the World Series.
Are you kidding me?
No, I saw that. Somebody, maybe it was Bob Stern, somebody on Twitter was posting that. I was like, okay, let's slow down. Let's get to the ALCS.
Still got to get through the Stros. They're tied, so but you got to feel like that's what's coming.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. But dude, Minnesota, Correa, man, that was kind of nasty.
They're a well-rounded team.
They really are. I did not get to watch the Rangers yesterday. I had to listen to it on. By the way, the 1080 KRLD AM station out of Dallas. I got that signal all the way into North Austin. I just want to shout them out all the way from Tyler, Texas, south to Austin. Listen to it the whole way. Quite enjoyable. But that's always a really...
The old like KVIL legend where you'd hear about being able to get a signal like a state away.
Yeah, exactly. I listened to AM radio for 3.5 hours yesterday. It's great. Dude, if we weren't shorthanded this week, I'd absolutely be going to the game tomorrow. Game 3 at home. Rangers could close it out. It would be insane. It would be really insane, given like that they lost 100 games last year. Lost Scherzer, although he might be back next round. Lost DeGrom, and they're rolling out Jordan Montgomery, your ace, and they won basically a bullpen game 1. Insane, and I can't believe it. And I'm just trying to temper my expectations. I don't know what it's going to look like, but Strozer knotted up against the Twins, like we said, and we'll see what happens. Cautiously optimistic.
I'm not gonna pander too much to the baseball world, but like as dialed in as I've been on the Rangers the last, I don't know, whopping 3 or 4 games. Breaking news: KJ's watching playoff baseball. Kershaw,
dude,
absolutely S in the bed in game 1 against the Diamondbacks, and the Braves dropping game 1 against the Phillies. That's probably what's tilting the scale a little bit for the Rangers to be the odds-on favorites, and Astros dropping game 1. So, or I guess game 2 for them tying it up. Like, it's weird. I'm not going to hold out hope. I posted a picture of the Gulf oil sign, which I only equate to Nelson Cruz smashing into it in the outfield in St. Louis, some 15, 17 years ago. I don't do the math.
12.
So I'm not really ready to be hurt. I guess I don't know why I'm going back to 06. So, I'm not ready to be hurt again, but I'm definitely intrigued. Some weird shit could happen here.
I am. I'm ready. It took me a couple games to get back into it, but the bullpen was such a white knuckle ride in the at the end of the season. Pretty much all season, really. They're a very bad bullpen. To see them game one hold a 1-run lead, it was insane. And honestly, the most stress I've felt watching sports in a long, long time. So I can't wait till we get to the ALCS against Houston. And yeah, we got Chapman out there. And with Chapman, in 3 or 4 pitches, if he's gonna be able to get it done, he's a fucking wild ride, man.
He is.
I just don't want to have to go back to Houston. I don't want him to have to go to Houston.
Dude, Yovaldi can't beat Houston. Chapman can't beat Houston. It's just not a good scene. We need the Twins to pull that out.
I was in Houston when that happened, and man, I just remember being
Minnesota
very emotionally hurt watching his face and just the oh shit face after he gave up that home run against the Yankees.
Rangers, man.
With the Yankees.
You don't know what they're getting with their bullpen, obviously. That offense, though, they bring the bats, man.
Did you see the secret weapon?
I did not. Tell me.
We got a little.
Not a hockey player.
This is jumping ahead, but the locker room's apparently been bumping Creed, and they've been playing Creed
Sarcastically, or
they're saying it's not, but it almost certainly is. Although with baseball guys, you don't know.
Weirdos.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. Also, after the Tampa series, the post game, very few people picked up on the fact that they were just absolutely blaring Dick down in Dallas, which is quite different than Creed.
By who?
I don't know the guy's name. He is a country artist.
Sounds like a Wheeler Walker joint, but it's not Wheeler Walker.
No, it's not. But yeah, it's a song about an ex getting dick down in Dallas and many other places actually around the country.
What happens in Austin?
Is it
sucked off in Austin?
I believe it's anal in Austin.
Anal in Austin. Thank you, Randy, for helping us out there. Good for
Randy. Looked up. He hasn't looked up the entire time. He's like,
Trey Lewis.
Who?
Trey Lewis. Railed out in Raleigh.
Shout out to Trey Lewis for the bop.
Not a shocker that a baseball locker room's just blaring that.
I feel like the Stars also
Stars did too.
Yeah, we'll embrace that too.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
So yeah, it's a baseball pod here today.
Yeah, nothing better than Saturday night. Boys are just got done playing some golf, cooking some steaks, some fajitas. Gonna get the game on, fired up. It's 5-0. 5-0, top of the first. Kershaw, who I'm a Kershaw fan, just getting shelled.
Very likable, yeah.
Very likable. You guys want to party?
Let's party, Dave.
Let's do it.
This is the part of the show where we party and we continue podcasting at the same time. Travis Scott golf shoe. It's a Nike collab. Just dropped.
Kind of gas. Don't know if it's for me, but it's kind of gas.
I would wear it. I wouldn't go out of my way to wear it. I believe I saw a golf store. We had this sent to us earlier from Brett. They're gatekeeping the shoe to keep shoe dealers or shoe flippers. What do you call them? Not shoe flippers.
I don't know. People who buy and sell shoes.
Yeah, those who would, people just trying to earn an honest buck. They're trying to keep
people interested in Travis Scott.
Maybe. Oh.
Race card?
Well.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Yeah, they're making you hit a drive at least 200 yards in order to buy the shoe.
Yeah.
To prove that you actually do play golf.
I'm going to be that guy. 200 yards, not that far. Not that far.
But if you've never picked a club up before.
That's a great point.
Can you hit a ball 200
yards?
How
many opportunities are you giving me?
Right. What if you just shank the first one?
What's the back of the net at Topgolf?
230? 220.
No, it's out there.
I don't know. I fly the net, so.
Oh, you might be right. It might be about 240-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
You think there's something nefarious going on?
Are we including carry? I don't know how we're calculating this, but If I get a hefty roll, some nice wind,
if you are
might approach it.
If you are a shoe flipper who also plays golf, you are in luck. You can flip these shoes.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably people in this office who will have them. I bet Will come next time we see Will in a couple of weeks. By the way, congratulations.
Travis Scott, does he play golf?
That I don't know, and I won't speculate on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I won't say what I was going to say.
Well, now I want to know what you're going to say.
Big fan of Smash GC, but that didn't even like clearly translate. It's an unfortunate incident I'm trying to shoehorn in. Anyways, speaking of Travis Scott, let me bring things a more somber story that I was really excited about this weekend. Iowa State put out what? Do you want me to go back and explain it? Because it's not going to look
No. I was trying to figure out how serious this was going to be, and if I should just run the music back, the audio bed, and we're going to run it back.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. Whatever. I'm just going to tell a story. So yeah, the Iowa State Cyclones, not somebody that we'd probably be paying attention to unless we were going through Brock Purdy's like collegiate history or something. I don't know. They put out their uniforms last week for the Jack Trice Legacy game, which was the 100th anniversary of the game between Iowa State and Minnesota, where unfortunately Jack Trice, former football player for Iowa State, lost his life due to injury sustained in that game. For those who aren't aware, Jack Trice was the first black player to play football at Iowa State in the, again, do your math here, 100 years, 1922 season, 1923, whatever. So, this is pre any significant integration efforts within the U.S. And at this point in time, if you had a player who was of significant note or not significant note, like playing in college sports, they were often targeted. Jack Trice is unique in terms of like him having a place in history because he's not Jackie Robinson. He wasn't like an All-American. He wasn't, Jim Brown, pre-Dom Vi, or any of these other like major legacy black athletes who broke color barriers in the places that they did it. Jerry Levias from SMU as well. Tremendous, like all conference players. He was just a player. In fact, he was from a small town, wanted to be a farmer, went to Iowa State so he could learn how to farm and go back to living in the South in the 1920s to teach his family how to farm, inspired by, George Washington Carvers of the sort. There were a couple plays in the 1920s that were like outlawed in football. We know nowadays like wedge on the kickoffs are outlawed. Players in the past like 15 years would be able to like lock arms and block defenders.
Like Red Rover?
Levels. Yeah. And you put 4 linemen together and go smash through, DBs running down to cover kicks in college football and high school football. That's been, ixnayed. They used to do that with offensive linemen, like back in the 1920s, where they would just lock arms and double team or just crash down on defenders, a la tush push. That was an outlawed play. Maybe a year or two before the game in question here between Iowa State and Minnesota. Jack Trice was playing defensive end at the time. He'd already hurt his shoulder, I believe, playing like wide receiver, was playing defensive end, and basically was trampled in a play, sustained additional injuries, I believe broken ribs possibly. I don't have the specifics here. He was admitted to the hospital. Field team doctors put him in the hospital. The game was at Minnesota. Some say he was like released too early from the hospital. And at that time they were like riding the train, from game to game, put on like a bed of hay in the back of like a drafty boxcar, to ride that out back to Ames. Saw doctors' names. His conditions had worsened, eventually succumbed to the injuries and died. It hasn't been named Jack Trice Stadium, Iowa State's football stadium. They didn't name it after him in 1923. Go figure. They put like a little memorial somewhere, a little plaque in the corner of a gym that mentioned it. Professor found it in like the 90s, brought it up, wrote an article about it. School rallied around it in the late 90s. It is now the only stadium, it has been for a while, the only stadium named after a person of color, or specifically about a black athlete in college football, which is just kind of bizarre to think of. You've got Eddie Robinson Field down in Grambling, maybe even the stadium, but at the FBS level, this is it. So they had their 100th anniversary game this past weekend. Uniforms looked kind of questionable going into it. Ask Utah, I won't let you slide even in a Memorial game if you got some weird things going on with your uniforms. They looked phenomenal during the game. Vertical stripes stayed on their helmet in red. And to top it all off, I don't know if you saw who they played, but they came away with the dub over a team, I think, out of Fort Worth, Texas Christian University or something like that. So shout out to Iowa State in the 100th anniversary of Jack Trice. Legacy game, and most notably for beating TCU. Thank you.
That was beautiful, KJ.
Yep. It was all just talk about TCU losing.
You just...
You're so proud of yourself.
Well, I did learn a lot. Like, I knew Jack Trice. I didn't know I didn't know a lot of the history.
No relation to Obi.
Sure. Okay. I wasn't going to ask if he was related to Obi Trice. Real name, no gimmicks. Okay.
And I do owe a major thank you and shouts to listener Jackson Baum, I believe from Iowa State, who attended the game, put this back on my radar, gave me more reasons to remember to pay attention to it than just to see TCU lose.
Wow.
Okay.
Shout out to Matt Campbell. He's the coach.
Yeah.
He's kind of a
keeping his
dickhead.
job.
He's kind of a charge, isn't he?
Well, if he was my coach, I'd probably like him. But all right.
Run it back real quick. Get out of here. Let's run it back. Of course, the segment where we talk about what we already talked about. Parks did secondhand drugs at ACL.
No.
Pour one out for KJ's fantasy team this week.
Lost. Losers.
Dave thinks Micah has bad body language at times.
Micah Parsons.
To be clear, not Micah Weiner, but Parsons,
No.
the guy who plays for the Dallas Cowboys. Kellen Moore would have gotten spit roasted for running the ball 7 times in the first half as the Cowboys offensive coordinator. Dicked Down in Dallas is, of course, by country music star Trey Lewis. And finally,
relation to Lance.
KJ took the long way to point out that TCU lost.
Dude, I forgot that even happened. Like that. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It happened 100 years ago. It still matters
Not
today.
that. TCU. Talking about TCU. Oh my God.
KJ.
All right, remember, no live stream this week. Who's TCU got this week? Can you just...
Man, I hope they've got some time off. Really think through their schedule. You know what? It looks like they've got BYU. They are hosting BYU.
Okay.
Weather dry, so
New
can
Big
still
12
may
stand
occur.
up. All right. We no live stream this week. We'll be back next Monday. And then we've got a special guest next Thursday, 6:30 Central. Subscribe to our YouTube. Until then, bye-bye.
I want my chips with the dip.
Bye.
That's all I know. I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips.